It isn't the roar of the crowd, it's the rattle of chains you hear first. Beneath the Flavian Amphitheatre, where light is sliced into thin, blade-like streaks, the air slides cool over your skin, carrying the smell of damp earth, rotting timber, and something faintly metallic, like cold iron that has just met blood. Here, in cramped holding cells, the walls are scored by fingernails, and time, broken carvings, names, prayers, a curse spit in the dark. They aren't meant to be remembered. They're proof that someone once breathed. Above them, the crowd bellows like the sea. Below them, stone sweats its chill into bone. And between those two worlds, there is a passage that leads to a door the Romans gave a name so casually spoken, it becomes terrifying. Porta Libitinaria, the gate of death. If you have to walk through it, even while still alive, what do you carry in your last 30 breaths? Hope or a curse? Imagine this. You're no longer standing in sunlit Rome. You're going down. Step by step, the stone sinks lower, and the light behind you thins into a single thread. The air changes. Up there, it's dust, sweat, wine, and cheering. Down here, it's the damp breath of ancient earth. It's old timber that once drank in water. It's cold lime and stone, like a room that has never, ever been warmed. And then, you reach the place most visitors have only ever seen in their minds, the Hypogeum, a hidden world beneath the belly of the Flavian Amphitheatre, a web of corridors and chambers crossed and recrossed, like dried veins inside the body of a gigantic beast. Above ground, people see columns, soaring arches, the glory of an empire. But down here, that glory becomes something else. Muscle, rope, wood, iron nails, and passageways where one wrong turn, just one, and you no longer know where you are. Some corridors are so low, your shoulders almost remember the ceiling. Your footsteps echo and return, as if an invisible someone is walking beside you. There are pockets of darkness so thick, you feel like you could grab it with your hands. And when wind slips through the cracks in the stone, it doesn't sound like wind. It becomes a dry hiss, like someone dragging breath through clenched teeth. If you stand still long enough, you start to understand something simple. This place wasn't built for people to live. It was built for people to be taken. And that's the terrifying part. The Hypogeum was never decoration. It was a machine, the backstage of brilliance, the place that turned flesh and fear into a performance. On cue, on time, under perfect light. Chroniclers say that after the amphitheater was inaugurated in the late 1st century, the underground structures kept expanding, especially under Emperor Domitian, to serve spectacles that became more complex, more crowded, more ambitious. Above, the crowd demanded the impossible. Below, the price was ruthless precision. Picture a morning nearly 2,000 years ago. Above ground, sunlight has just touched the travertine. The seats begin to warm. But down here, the stone is still cold. Moisture clings to the walls like an old man's sweat that never dries. From far away, a sound drifts down. Metal tapping metal. Clink, clink. Small noises, but enough to tighten a heart because they're familiar. Chains, bolts, the heavy hush of wooden doors closing. There are narrow bays for props. There are chambers for beasts, and their smell can't be hidden. A sharp stench, thick and alive, wet fur, filth, and panic. They don't understand the laws of the empire, but they understand darkness. They breathe fast. They scratch. They snarl deep in their throats as if they want to tear through the planks, as if they want to claw their way back up into the light. And somewhere else, In another corner of the labyrinth, there are humans sitting very still. Someone closes their eyes, back against the wall, letting the cold seep through cloth, through skin, into bone, as if the stone is reminding them this body no longer belongs to them. Someone quietly sharpens a small piece of metal until the scrape becomes a lullaby. Someone presses a hand to the wall, tracing old carvings, names, symbols, lines that never became words, as if feeling the fingerprints of those who came before. Above, the crowd thickens. It stops being noise and becomes weight. It presses down on the ceiling. It presses down on your chest. It makes your breath shorter. Do you notice the cruelty? How precise it is? They didn't just lock a fighter in a dark room. They made him listen to the world, waiting for him to die. For the audience, death is a burst. For the ones down here, death is a train approaching, and you hear its iron wheels long before it arrives. In the Hypogeum, time doesn't flow like it does above. It drips, drop by drop, cold, heavy, patient. Every footstep in the corridor, every groan of wood, every rope pulled tight, could be the sign that your turn is coming. And when your turn comes, there is no ritual, no comfort. Only a narrow path leading you through the dark belly of the arena, like walking through the throat of a beast with its mouth already open. You step, and the stone beneath you remembers other steps. You listen, and the roar above grows closer. Closer. You inhale, and damp rot, cold iron, wild animal musk blend into a single scent, a scent like fate. And then, right in front of you, in the dark, a space opens, not light, just a gap, wide enough for a person to vanish from the underworld and appear before tens of thousands of eyes. And in that moment, you understand. Above ground, they call this entertainment. But underground, it has only one other name. Shorter, truer. Ascending off, beneath the Hypogeum, there are places where darkness is not merely darkness. It is a lid pressed down over a human life. You turn into a narrow corridor where raw stone scrapes your shoulders as if it wants to hold you back. Up above, the noise doesn't disappear. It only breaks into fragments, distant, then close, then like thunder trapped inside rock. And it is that flicker, those shifting distances, that exhaust the mind most because it never lets you forget. Above, you are tens of thousands of people, waiting for a moment drenched in blood, just to feel entertained. The carcerous, gladiators' holding cells don't need to be large. They only need to be big enough for a body to curl in on itself, and dark enough for the imagination to kill you long before the blade does. One cell, one emptiness, cold stone seeping upward. A wall worn smooth in places from how many backs have leaned there, how many shoulders have trembled and then gone still. Bricks chipped and torn, as if someone once clawed at them until their fingernails lifted, clawing in silence, clawing to fight the feeling that they had been turned into an object. The smell down here is hard to name with a single word. It is old sweat, compressed breath, damp cloth that never truly dries. And sometimes, when air moves the wrong way from the animal pens, a stronger stench slides in like a warning. Today it won't be only men who die. Today, animals will be dragged out to die with them. But the thing that suffocates you most isn't the smell. It's time. Down here, time doesn't move by sunlight. It moves by bolts sliding, by chains dragged along stone, by the footsteps of a soldier passing, tap, tap, and then stopping outside your door. Each time the footsteps stop, your heart must decide to shrink or to shatter. Some walls still carry the marks of hands that came before. Graffiti, rough, clumsy, brutal marks, but alive. Scattered letters, sometimes only a symbol, a name, a short sentence that catches in the throat. We don't always know who carved them or on what day, but they remain, like small bones of memory. And the moment you see them, you understand. This is not the realm of legends. This is the realm of human beings. Some carve prayers to the gods. Some cut their own name like a vow they were never allowed to make. Some leave only slashes, no letters at all, as if language itself had abandoned them. And when people think of a gladiator, they think of steel flashing under the sun, muscle, and roaring crowds. But hold on to this image for a little longer. A man sitting in the dark, back against the wall, hands resting on his knees, breathing slowly, as if counting the few heartbeats he has left. Above his head, the crowd. Below his feet, cold stone. In front of him, a thick wooden door, shut like a sentence not yet spoken. The psychological weight of that waiting is the first blade. Because in the arena, everything happens fast. Cheers, steel, a fall, blood hitting sand. But down here, death is not fast. It arrives as foreknowledge. It arrives as sound. It arrives in those moments when you hear the crowd scream for someone else. And you know that soon enough, that scream will call your name, or call for your body. Some men keep themselves steady through ritual. They clean weapons, even when they know the weapon may not truly be theirs. They wrap leather around their wrists, tight enough to feel they still control one small thing. They close their eyes, lips moving, not to beg for victory, but to ask for a quicker death, a less humiliating one. And there are others who ask for nothing at all. They are simply silent, not the silence of courage, the silence of depletion. When fear has run so many laps inside the body that it no longer cries out. It only sits there, like a second figure, seated beside you in the cell. Then, from far away, you begin to hear it. Ropes drawn tight, wooden wheels rolling, metal, locking into metal. The arena's mechanism is waking up. Everything here is operated like a technical ritual. On time, with the right force, in the right place. Only human beings are never right. They shake, they cough, they swallow, they want to live. But the machine does not care. Somewhere, a trapdoor slams open, a dry, hard bang, and the echo runs down the corridor as if it were running straight along your spine. You hear an animal roar, then the crack of a whip, and men shouting to hold it back. The entire labyrinth seems to move, and in that moment, you understand something terrible. The arena is not just a place, it is a machine built to swallow life. Above is its mouth, blazing with light, full of cheers. Below is its stomach, damp, dark, and never full. Your cell door trembles slightly. No one speaks. Only the iron bolt slides back. Click! A small sound, but enough to make every thought in your head drop like stone. And when the door opens, no light floods in like it does in stories. There is only a long, dark corridor, leading to where the machine is waiting. You step out. Behind you, the door closes. That click again. This time, it sounds like a period at the end of a life. And ahead, the crowd suddenly thickens, closer, hotter, as if all of Rome is inhaling in a single breath, waiting for you to exhale your last. You walk toward it, not like a hero, but like a human being, led by history's hand, guided through darkness, toward the place where light will reveal everything. Fear, pride, and the price of being alive. And when the corridor opens into a wider space, when you begin to hear the deep resonance of wood, the pull of ropes, the turning of axles. You see it. At the very center of this labyrinth is the thing that will bring you back to the surface. Not a doorway. A mechanism, a straight path into destiny, built by human hands, yet operating like the will of an empire. You can't see the arena floor, you can only hear it. The crowd sounds like a living boulder rolling overhead, crashing against the vaulted ceiling, splitting into countless rumbles, then gathering again inside your chest as a pressure with no name, as if Rome itself is leaning down to listen to your heartbeat. Ahead, the corridor opens into a wider space. The darkness here isn't as thick, it's cut into pieces by torchlight, dirty gold streaks, clinging to wood and iron. And you begin to see what no one up there ever sees, what makes the spectacle possible. Ropes, spindles, pulleys, levers, a machine so intricate, you forget for a moment that you're walking toward death. Not because it's beautiful, because it's cold, too precise. As if every bolt, every link was born for one purpose, to lift life up to the surface at the exact right moment, and then take it away in front of thousands. In the Hypogeum, the Romans built lifts and ramps to move gladiators, wild beasts, and elaborate props, forest scenes, rock faces, even false backdrops to tell a story in blood. You stare at the thick wooden platforms, the upright frames, like doors installed the wrong way. Some wood is polished smooth, hauled up and down thousands of times. Some iron is corroded, yet still holds the shine of human hands. Hands that pulled ropes, locked pins, pushed wheels, beneath the roar of a crowd that would never know their names. And as you stand there, you understand something. Up there, people believe they're watching a fight. Down here, this is mechanical theater. A trapdoor can snap open under a beast's feet. An elevator can thrust a fighter up, like a ghost rising from the earth. A gate can explode outward at the exact moment the music swells or the horn calls. Everything must align. The rhythm, the position, the timing. Because if anything slips, even slightly, if a rope slides, if a locking pin jams, if a wheel shifts, then blood won't spill only on the sand. It will spill down here, in the dark, where there are no spectators to witness it, and no one to praise it. You hear the pulleys squeal, creat, like the teeth of an old animal grinding, long, sharp, scraping at your ears, until a dry, final thud, a lift frame hitting its stop. Someone shouts an order, short Latin, clipped, hard. Then hurried footsteps on wood. Iron strikes iron. Clang. The machine is running. Not to save anyone, but to make someone's death. On time. You pass a trapdoor sealed shut. Just a plank, lying still on stone. But you know, up there, that plank will be the ground. People will stomp on it, laugh on it, thrill on it, and no one will know how many shadows are waiting beneath. You slow down. You can't go fast. Not because anyone holds you back, because every step becomes a question. If I take one more step, will I still be me? In a corner, beast cages crouch in the dark. The stench rises like hot smoke in cold air. Heavy breathing, claws rasping wood, yellow eyes flare, then vanish. You look in, and for a moment you realize a bitter truth. The animal is afraid, but the human beside it may be more afraid, because the human understands. Understands that up there, the fear of both will be called entertainment. You keep walking. The corridor begins to slope upward. The vibration beneath your feet changes, no longer solid stone, but thick timber, boards laid to bear weight. Somewhere a hammer knocks fast. Somewhere ropes pull taut, like muscles stretched to their limit. Then you reach a vertical structure, a lift frame. It isn't a gate to heaven or hell. It's only wood and iron. But standing before it, you feel as if you're facing a throat. Once it opens, you'll be pushed into light, exposed before tens of thousands of eyes. No place to hide. No darkness left to conceal your trembling. You lay a hand on the wood. It's cold. Not winter cold. Cold, like something that has absorbed too much human breath, too much sweat, too much blood, until it no longer feels anything at all. Someone stands behind you. A guard or an operator. You don't need to turn to hear their breathing. Ordinary, indifferent, the breath of someone at work. And that is the most terrifying part. Because to them, this is a shift. To you, this is a life. A command rings out. The rope jerks tight. The frame trembles. The floor beneath you wakes. Crack. Wood complains. Pulleys scream. You feel yourself being lifted, bit by bit, like an item hauled from storage. No music. No ceremony. Only the dry sound of technique, of material, of a machine doing its job. And then, the sound above changes. It stops being an echo. It becomes real, close, hot, dense. Voices, footsteps, shouts. The air changes too, from damp cold to a wave of heat. Fresh sweat, dust, sand. Light begins to spill through the seams above the platform. One stripe, then two, then a blinding sheet of white. In that instant, pain stabs your eyes. Your eyelids clamp down, the body's last reflex to protect itself. And right before the platform bursts open, you hear something clearly. Not the crowd, but your own silence. A thin pause like a blade inside your head, where memories flash and die. A face, a scent, an old meal, a distant morning you never knew was peace. The platform shudders, the iron latch snaps, and light, the light of the arena pours down like a flood. You are thrust upward, not like someone stepping out, but like a secret being exposed. And the moment your feet meet the sand, you understand. Below the earth is the machine, but above the earth is where that machine wants you to become a story. A story that may very well end at another door on the far side. A door they do not name with anything beautiful, only with the plain truth of what it is. The gate of death. The light up there isn't like any light you've ever known. It isn't warm, it isn't gentle, it exposes. The sand beneath your feet is blinding, so bright it feels as if each grain is watching you back. The air is hot, dry, thick with sweat and dust, and mixed into it, the scent of the living pressed tightly together, and something unmistakably the arena's own. Iron leather and blood that has dried only to be crushed underfoot again. The roar of the crowd is no longer above you. It surrounds you. It rolls over stone walls, slams into your chest, knocks your heartbeat out of rhythm. There are moments when you can't even hear your own breathing, only Rome breathing. And inside that circle, you are no longer a person with a past. You are a shape, a role. A body placed in the right position under the right light at the exact right moment. So tens of thousands of eyes can decide what they want to feel that day. But behind the cheers, behind the glory, something is always waiting like a shadow at the base of the wall. The ending must be cleared away, because the arena is not allowed to linger on truth. It must continue. It must flow. It must replace old blood with new applause. You've heard of the battles, the fame, the legends. People still tell the stories, like they're telling stories about fire, but few want to stand still long enough to look at the ash. The price of entertainment here isn't only death. It is the swift disappearance of death, so the crowd doesn't have to carry it home. A body falling on the sand is just a moment. Then that moment must be dragged out of sight, like pulling a curtain. On the far side of the arena, there is an exit whose name sounds almost casually cruel. Porta Libitinaria, the gate linked to Libitina, the goddess of funerals. The Romans called it the gate of death, not to spread fear, but because they were used to calling truth by its proper name. You can imagine that path without ever seeing it. From the hot sand into a cool strip of darkness, the crowd's roar fractures into echoes and then into silence. A silence unlike the silence of a cell, the silence of a task completed, the silence of something already decided. There are no cheers there, only the soft dragging, skin sliding over sand and sand falling from a body like a final layer of dust. And something more terrifying than death itself, the way death here is organized, brought in, displayed, taken out, by the same machine, the same discipline, the same emotionless smoothness. And in that smoothness, you see the shadow of power, an empire that can raise vast stone arches, that can seat tens of thousands together, to shout as one can also turn a human life into a small detail on the day's schedule. The arena is a vast mirror. It reflects something people don't like to see. When power needs spectacle, it uses human identity as material. And when the crowd needs to forget its emptiness, it calls another person's sacrifice a show. But stone remembers. Even though the cheering died out long ago, even though wood and rope rotted away, even though the lifts exist only in imagination, now the ancient slabs still lie there, silent as a closed throat. And if you stand still long enough in your mind, you will hear sounds so faint, fingernails scraping the wall, a bolt snapping shut, a pulley screeching, and after everything, footsteps moving in only one direction. Some stories aren't told with words. They are told by the structure of a place, by one-way corridors, by the contrast between radiant light and damp, cold shadow. The Flavian Amphitheatre still stands, not as a song of victory, but as a reminder of what humans can do to one another when architectural beauty hides the ugliness of instinct. And if today you walk those stone steps and look down into the emptiness where the Hypogeum once was, remember, beneath every cheer in history, there is a layer of silence. A layer of silence belonging to those who were never allowed to tell their own story. The trapdoor beneath the arena floor, opening then closing, has swallowed countless breaths without leaving behind a single name. A principle. When something makes people cheer too easily, ask yourself, who is paying for that cheer? In the next 24 hours, do 3 small things. 1. Choose one performance you consume every day, news, social media conflict, and take one step back before you merge with the crowd. 2. Write one sentence. What in my life is being dragged through a gate I don't even notice? 3. Say something kind, very softly, to someone who is often overlooked so you remember. People are not props, because sometimes the most frightening thing isn't death, but living as if someone else's applause matters more than your own breath. And you, if you stood before the gate of death of a choice in your life, what would you walk through holding in your hands? Fame or a piece of truth?